Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, August 23rd. Today, drier air will push into the western half of the Great Basin and up into Idaho, so we do expect sunny skies, warmer temperatures, and drier conditions, especially for areas of western Nevada, but also up into Idaho where we've had recent lightning and certainly recent fire and large fire activity. This drier air continues on Wednesday, but may only encompass the western half of the Salmon Chalice into the Payette and the Boise, with still some isolated thunderstorms possible on Wednesday. Today will kind of be a downturn for lightning activity across the Great Basin, but quickly on Wednesday and Thursday, we have another surge of monsoon moisture, which will increase lightning activity. However, most of those thunderstorms will be on the wetter side, but the fringes of northern areas in Idaho, both Wednesday and Thursday, will remain a mix of wet and dry or on the drier side, and certainly with the deeper moisture down south. But there certainly are some chances for thunderstorms in parts of the Salmon Chalice going into Wednesday, Thursday. Precipitation over the last 24 hours, we did have some scattered thunderstorms over central and eastern Idaho into northern Nevada and northern Utah and then further south. These thunderstorms were certainly on the wetter side over southern and eastern areas and a mix of wet and dry over parts of the Salmon Chalice. The last 24 hours of Great Basin fire activity, we did see about 13 new starts for just over 700 acres. Did have one new large fire on the Boise, otherwise smaller fires reported with continued growth on our large fires. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've seen above normal precipitation over much of the central and eastern areas of Nevada into Utah, and then spottier up north. Certainly some of the drier spots have been parts of the central and southwest areas of Idaho, and then also into parts of far western and southwest Nevada. Currently, our ERCs are back on the upward trend across the central Idaho mountains, still above normal for the time of year and will continue ticking upwards. Also over northern and western Nevada, where drier air has set in, ERCs are starting to rebound as well. 100-hour fuel moisture remains in the 6 to 10% range, but is drying out, especially in the Sierra into far western Nevada, and that trend will likely continue north and west. The satellite loop from this morning shows a ridge of high pressure dominating, again, really with that trough that moved through Idaho yesterday, kind of pushed a lot of that moisture off to the east. So again, a decrease in lightning activity and cloud cover today for the Great Basin before moisture returns. So later this afternoon, again, just some spotty areas of moisture over the eastern half of the region, but again, for the most part, drier. And then our significant fire potential will remain low to moderate over northern areas and generally low over other areas of the Great Basin. But you can see that drier air working its way in from northwest Nevada up into Idaho today. So again, thunderstorm coverage will certainly be decreased with overall coverage. Wind gusts, no real major concerns, maybe some breezier northwest winds for central Idaho, but most of those gusts generally in the teens to around 20 miles per hour. And relative humidity will be dropping. It will remain low in Nevada with single digits to low teens, but up into Idaho, where we have had some recent moisture, relative humidity certainly will be dropping with most areas in the teens or possibly up around 20%. As we move into Wednesday, we see that return of moisture to Utah and central areas of the Great Basin. So again, that will remain with scattered wet thunderstorms with low fire potential and still low to moderate fire potential in the north. So on Wednesday, you can see the lightning activity in Nevada and Utah. However, we will have some thunderstorms pop up again over mainly again Salmon Chalice and possibly the northern Sawtooth into eastern Idaho. Winds really won't be a big concern on Wednesday in most areas. Relative humidity still remains in the single digits to teens in Nevada and also up into southwest Idaho and even into central Idaho. Still some drier conditions, but where those thunderstorms develop over especially eastern areas of the Salmon Chalice, we will see some increases in relative humidity. As we move into Thursday, a very similar picture, a little bit deeper moisture down over eastern Nevada and Utah, and still Idaho kind of skimming that moisture with thunderstorms possible. No real changes in significant fire potential except some more drying over western Nevada, so we will see low to moderate fire potential on the western and northern side of the basin. So Thursday, very similar picture to Wednesday with the thunderstorms, maybe a little bit more coverage in Utah and southern and eastern Nevada, but still on the wetter side. And then similar coverage up in eastern Idaho and also back into the central Idaho mountains for some mix of wet and dry thunderstorms on Thursday. Winds, however, will start to be picking up a little bit more as we approach later in the week. More of a breezy northwest wind for much of Idaho. These wind gusts will generally be in the 20 to 25 mile per hour range, so certainly a little bit breezier than what we'll see here the next couple of days. And relative humidity remains dry in northern and western Nevada into southern Idaho, and very similar conditions up into central Idaho. Certainly, if we have some thunderstorms, we will see some relative humidity increase to above about 25%. 3-day amounts of precipitation are shown here. Again, better chances of wetting rains with thunderstorms are in southern areas, with really spotty precipitation with those mix of wet and dry storms up north. As we move into Friday and the weekend, we will see a change in the weather pattern. Winds start to pick up again on Friday, a little bit breezier than what we'll see on Thursday for southern Idaho, so we will watch those winds. Lightning potential will be pushed a little bit further east, so still low to moderate fire potential with those drier conditions for Idaho and western Nevada. It's really as we move into Saturday, this could be our strongest wind day of the next 7-day period, so we will continue to watch this. We could see gusts above 30 or even 40 miles per hour for Idaho. With that drier air, we could also see some lightning activity depending on how this area of low pressure into the Pacific Northwest comes in. So we will likely have some high risk at some point going into the weekend, but it's a little bit too far out and the details have been changing with some of the models. So still low to moderate fire potential, but again, we'll certainly be watching closely Idaho with the winds especially and the potential for any new lightning. And on Sunday, that system moves off to the east, still some breezy northwest winds, so another day of some gusty winds up in Idaho, otherwise drier conditions. And then moving into Monday, we'll see more benign conditions, but still dry air in place across the Great Basin. So we could see at least several days of potentially dry weather from most areas of the Great Basin. So you can see how the 7-day fire potential is definitely responding to that dryness, and we are seeing even some drying into parts of northern Utah, into eastern, and even parts of southern Nevada. 7-day total precip isn't a whole lot different than the 3-day. Again, we will likely see some decreasing lightning activity and showers going into the weekend. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from August 30th through September 5th, shows still warmer and drier conditions for at least northern and western areas of the Great Basin, and even pushing that monsoon moisture a little bit further to the south and east, so we certainly could see some drying even over southern and eastern areas that have been on the wetter side. That concludes the webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.